Later, Morrow never dreamed at 92 years young, he'd be sitting here at Career Source Palm Beach County in the queue looking for work.
I gotta work, gotta pay my real estate taxes and homeowners insurance.
Property tax defaults are exploding, with the National Tax Lien Association anticipating a biblical explosion of defaults not seen since the global financial crisis. Now, you guys, the biggest problem with tax lien foreclosures is it disproportionately impacts senior citizens, many of which who do not have an existing mortgage, but the problem is they are on a fixed income with an inability to absorb any additional increases in the cost of living. Meanwhile, you have these so-called investors circling these seniors like a pack of wolves looking to seize their properties. And here's the crazy thing, even though many of these senior citizens still have an abundance of equity. Now, you guys, that's going to be our first segment. On our last segment, I'm going to show you guys, and I'm going to complete a new simplified criminal complaint. I'm going to go step by step, and I'm going to show you guys how easy it can be to be a patriot now that the groundwork has been laid. Now, my goal is to have that complaint completed and research done in 10 minutes, meaning you as the viewer, if this type of predatory investing bothers you, and you're sick and tired of the overwhelming fraud and ISD bond debt, then you can complete this yourself in less than 30 minutes. You guys, America needs your help, and we need it now. And I'm going to warn you guys that unless we keep coming together and we stay together, we will lose everything. The time for action is now. And having said that, welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. This video is going to be absolutely bonkers. You guys already know that. Mitch Vexler, how are you, sir?
Isn't it interesting? This gentleman is 92 years old, and Mr. Hall, who I had referred to before, was 84 years old. Both are in the exact same predicament at that age, having to go to work to pay what is clearly illegal real estate property taxes, from which the school districts create completely illegal bonds. This is a huge problem.
Now, at the end of this segment, so right before I go through this, I want you guys to ask yourself, because I'm going to show you guys a lot of tax lien defaults, and for the wrong person, they're going to use that information and potentially profit. So I want you guys to ask this question as you're watching this segment to yourself. Is investing in tax liens to seize someone's property unethical? Take a look at the stats on property tax lien sales, just to give you an idea of how many properties, because it's millions. Did you guys know that? There's literally millions of properties right now that are on default of their property taxes in danger of foreclosure. And take a look at this, over 15,000 properties in New York City alone, not even the state, just New York City alone were affected by tax lien sales. And the US property tax delinquency amount was reported at $22 to $25 billion in tax liens right now that are in default, reflecting a significant number of lien sales nationwide. Did you guys know that? And I'm going to show you guys some examples of some jurisdictions and how they're exploding with these defaults. You guys, we just read New York City, but over 15,000 properties and roughly 43,600 residential units were affected by tax lien sales in New York in one recent year. Cook County, Illinois, Cook County, including Chicago, has recurring annual and scavenger tax sales with vacant and abandoned properties, often numbering the tens of thousands. In a recent cycle, nearly 30,000 properties were in the county's scavenger sale system. Maricopa, Arizona, in 2022, approximately 16,655 tax liens were processed with over 44 million in delinquent taxes. That's crazy. The number of property tax lien sales each year is substantial, with large cities and counties reporting thousands to tens of thousands of sales annually, and the national unpaid property tax total consistently exceeds $20 billion. This is the NTLA market research report. And when I go down to page 3, this is very interesting, okay? So this is the National Tax Lien Association. The NTLA anticipates a significant increase in the number of delinquent taxpayers comparable to the recession, global financial crisis of 2007 and 2009. The annual property tax delinquency could reach $25 billion in 2021. One lesson learned from the most recent recession is the lack of correlation from the number of delinquent taxpayers to the number of tax foreclosures. When you go to their website, National Tax Lien Association, they're saying there's roughly $22 billion in unpaid property taxes that could pay 350,000 teacher salaries. There's an investor movement right now, a bunch of wolves that want to seize people's properties. Even Rocket Mortgage, one of the biggest lenders and servicers in the nation, is pushing tax liens and foreclosures. This is crazy. Look, this is Rocket Mortgage. How to invest in tax liens. Investors can buy property tax liens online or at in-person auctions. At auctions, you bid on properties based on tax lien amounts and interest rate. Your bidding strategy will depend on your goals for the property you're interested in. Everyone wants to take somebody else's property. This is shocking. Here's the problem. Most of this is from senior citizens. A lot of these senior citizens have ample equity that could just sell their property and cash in on hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity, but they don't do that. They don't realize what's going on. A large portion of homeowners facing property tax foreclosure or lien sales are older adults without mortgages. You guys, think about this. Without mortgages, if these people knew what was going on, they could do something about it. And if we could remove property taxes, then they would be safe. But a large portion of those homeowners are senior citizens without mortgages, and property tax delinquency across all groups could reach $25 billion annually. Now, that was a quote from here, you guys. National Center of Law and Elderly Rights. You guys see right here, again, a large portion of homeowners that are facing property tax foreclosures are older homeowners who do not have mortgages on their homes. By now, you should be formulating an opinion whether or not you think it's ethical or unethical to invest and seize senior citizens' property who are confused and don't know what's going on. But those people and that distress is exploding. And before I ask Mitch his opinion on ethics, let's listen to a video side by side of that 92-year-old man who's having to find a job to pay his property taxes. And then let's listen to an investor who is trying to get you excited to take his property.
I was headed to Korea and I ended up in Tokyo.
Decades later, Morrow never dreamed at 92 years young he'd be sitting here at Career Source Palm Beach County in the queue looking for work.
I gotta work. Gotta pay my real estate taxes and homeowners insurance.
Morrow's security side hustle was paying just enough to keep him in his family's home.
Yeah.
It's where he and his wife, Dolores, raised their kids.
Been in the house since 1967. This is my home now, and I want to stay in it.
I'm retired, but unfortunately, due to the economic condition and the housing condition, we are forced at my age, 64, to enter back into the workforce.
There was two people, one 92, one 64. Now let's listen to the sharks that are circling their property trying to seize them.
Where you can earn 25% to 50% or buy property way below market value. Today we're exploring Harris County, the third most populated county in the United States. It is a home for Houston, the largest city in Texas and the fourth largest in the U.S., and is a hub of economic activity, offering limitless opportunities for real estate investment. If you haven't been following, we've been diving into tax deed and tax lien investing across various counties in the U.S. Check out the playlist where you'll find an introductory video on Texas tax deed investing and detailed explorations of other Texas counties.
Mitch, the obvious question is investing in property tax liens making 25 to 50% off of the homeowner from the fees or potentially seizing their property through foreclosure? Sir, is that unethical?
It is unethical, immoral, disgusting, vile business model that preys off the misfortunes of real estate owners And this business and concept of taking money through the real estate taxes, the liens, should be wiped off the face of the earth. And I would go further to say that those people who are responsible for allowing this to happen, those politicians who set this up, should be charged criminally, which we've made the case for under RICO, both under states' laws and federal law. This is unconscionable, what's going on. To have a 92-year-old, an 84-year-old, doesn't matter. They are praying. These tax lien idiots, these vile, disgusting creatures, should be prohibited from doing what they're doing, and the tax liens themselves are illegal and shouldn't exist. And we've made that case under the 1st, 5th, 14th, and 16th Amendments to the U.S. Constitution, as well as the state's real estate property tax codes. This has got to go. The real estate property tax must be eliminated in favor of the uniform state sales tax, and that will put every one of these idiots out of business.
Segment number 2. So if this type of behavior and investing makes you upset and you want to do something about it, then you can file a criminal complaint. I have some great news for you guys. We just made a new complaint and we made it much shorter and much simpler. And what we learned is there's a special law in Texas. Now, if you're not in Texas, there's probably a law in your state that caps bond debt by 25% per year, meaning an ISD cannot ask for more than 25% of the total existing bond debt in their elections. And here's the problem, you guys. They don't care about that law. They're not abiding by that law, and they're exceeding the 25%. And because of that, we just made a criminal complaint in 6 steps. That's it. 6 steps that you need to take to fill out a complaint yourself. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to plead with you guys, please, I need your help. We have to help these senior citizens. We have to remove property taxes, because here's what's really going on. As a result of all of this fraud and all of this debt, taxes have gone up. According to this, for me, it's a lot more, but it's saying 27% increase in U.S. single-family residents from 2019 to 2024. You guys can see here, some of these increases, 52%, 51% in Georgia, but what I want to look at is the median. So the median is right here. So the median property taxes is $3,018. A lot of people are like, oh, if you remove property taxes, it's going to hurt the poor. But let me show you how that's actually going to drop rents. Because think about it, if you're a landlord and you're paying $3,018 per year, let me divide that by 12, that's $250 you're saving as a landlord. If I'm a landlord and I have my property tax removed from my mortgage payment, I will lower my rent considerably. But when we look here at the median rent, so the median rent is right here, $1,380. So let's take that, okay? And let's reduce that from this amount, $1,380. That would drop rent to about $1,128, taking us all the way back, as you see on your screen here, to around June of 2018. Although there's a massive inflation and bond problem, this could help the poor. This is the form that I'm going to complete right here. I'm going to have Mitch time me, and my plan is to do this in less than 10 minutes. Here's how I'm going to do it, you guys. I have a step-by-step. Everything's going to be linked in the description. Here it is right here. It's only 6 different steps. I'm going to be taking notes on this form: current bond debt, requested recent bond debt, the name of the superintendent, name of the school board members, and the name of the state comptroller. That's all I need. So step 1, identify current bond debt obligations of district. I put the keywords for you guys here. Google search your state or county, followed by ISD total bond debt. You want to make sure to take notes when we find this. This is going to be Exhibit C. So let me show you guys. I put in here total ISD bond debt for Harris County, Texas, and this comes up. This is the Texas BRB data center, and what I'm looking for is the total outstanding debt for Houston. So I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to find Houston. I'm going to select Houston ISD, and here's the debt outstanding. Okay, so let me click this. So you guys see here. So what I'm going to do is, as I'm getting this, I'm going to be taking notes on that other form. But I want you guys to know $1.9 billion outstanding for just the independent school district in Houston. So I'm going to right click this because I want to source where I'm finding this. I'm going to save this as a PDF as Exhibit C. Step 2, find the ISD bond law cap rate. And I found that right here, you guys. This is Education Code, Title 2, Chapter 45. So this section's under 45.0011.D1, where it's specifically saying this: a district may not issue bonds in which this section applies in an amount greater than the greater of 25% of the sum of the aggregate principal amount of all districts' debt payable from the ad valorem taxes that is outstanding at the time the bonds are issued. So they can't go over 25% of that number that I just showed you. So I'm also going to save this as Exhibit A. Step 3, find the violations. Google search your city or state, followed by ISD bond election. This will be Exhibit B. So Houston ISD bond election. I'm going to click this. This is Houston Independent School District, and let's see how much they're asking for. And you guys can see here, they're asking for well more than 25%. Again, they're in 1.9 billion in bond debt, but as you guys can see here, they're looking for $4 billion. That is criminal, my friends. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make note of this amount right here, that 3.9 billion. I'm going to also save this as Exhibit B, and I'm going to take note of the date, which is November 5th, 2024. There's also multiple advertisements right here on this website for the bonds that they're requesting. Step number 4, you have to name the parties or who is responsible for violating the laws and requesting this. So you're going to Google search your city or state, followed by ISD superintendent. Then you're going to Google your city or state, followed by school board. And then you're going to Google your state, followed by comptroller. And you're going to make notes of all of these people's names. I put Houston ISD superintendent, and this comes up F. Mike Miles. So that's one name I have. And I'm going to go back here and Google Houston ISD school board. And you guys see that Houston ISD comes up right here, school board members. So I'm going to click that. And you guys can see here are all of the people responsible for violating those laws. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to select all these names and I'm going to paste it. Then I'm going to type in Texas State Comptroller. And you guys see Texas Comptroller website right here. The Texas Comptroller is Glenn Hagar. And that's it. We're done with our research. Here's the notes right here. I have the current ISD bond debt, requested amount and date, superintendent name, school board members' names, and the state comptroller name. Now let's fill out the criminal complaint. Here's the criminal complaint right here. So I have to put my name. We're just going to say REM is my name of, we're going to just say Houston is in Harris. So we're going to go Harris County, and that is in Texas. Now here I'm going to copy and paste the name of the superintendent, school board, and comptroller. Okay, next let's keep going here. Your state. So we're going to put state of Texas. Okay, look at how easy this is. My name again is Real Estate Mindset, and I'm sending Harris County. Okay, you see that? My address, I'm going to keep my address here so you guys don't have my address, but 122, your address, your city, your state. And this is his knowledge, right? Because I'm a him. And we're going to paste right here the board members again. The county is Harris. We're going to put the superintendent here. When I'm done with this, I will remove the yellow, your state, Texas. Board member names here as well. My county, Harris. My state, Texas. You guys were almost done with this already. My name is right here, county, Harris. Name of superintendent, most recent bond election amount. So we come here and we put the total amount they've recently requested right here, which is almost 4 billion, 960,000,000. The district, the state of Texas right here. We're going to scroll down your state, Texas, name, and then boom, some law here we wrote out for you. Look at this, guys. We're almost done already. All right, let's paste the board members here. And let's keep moving here. We're almost done, you guys. So when it says here, the Board of Trustees on, we're going to put the date of today's date because that's when we saw this information. We're also going to put this date here as a today's date, because this is when we saw this information. Here, we're going to do the math and we're going to explain how much money is exceeding that 25% bond rate. So I got to pull this up again. I got to put it in the total amount of bond debt, which is this number here, almost $2 billion. And I'm going to multiply that by 25% because remember, that's the cap, right? So the most that they can ask for is 478 million. But again, they're asking for 4 billion. Okay, so let's subtract the 4 billion out of here. So I'm going to minus the 3,960,000,000. And the total is $3.48 billion in violation. That's a lot of money, don't you guys think? I'll put that here. Now here I put all of the names of the defendants, so I could just scroll up here and copy this. We're going to paste this here. And then here, you guys provide a brief description on how this has affected you. So that's what you do here. Now, we've given you guys an example of what you can say. So that's right here. I'm just going to put my address, 123 Main, Harris County. We're going to put Texas, name, county, date, sign, and we're done, you guys. Now that brings us to the final step. Step number 6, file the criminal complaint. So file this with the district attorney and the Department of Justice. Take notes and send us a copy of your filed criminal complaint. Mitch, I'm not sure how much time that took, but it didn't take much time at all. Can you articulate, explain to the viewers why it's so important for each and every one of us to complete that criminal complaint and to file it?
I'm going to do this in a couple of steps. So while Travis was going through that document in terms of what to do for a criminal complaint, I pulled up an amortization schedule and I did this on the fly just to prove a point. 1.9 billion is what the current existing debt is. In 7 years, the amount of interest paid on that 1.9 billion is 816 million. What did any person in Harris County get for that 816 million? By the way, the monthly payment is $11,917,000. Now, let's add the second component. $4 billion is what they are having their hands out for now in the current bond raise. Well, the interest paid on that $4 billion in 7 years is another $1.4 billion. What did any person inside of Harris County get for that additional $1.4 billion? The point that I'm getting at is A, it's a fraud. B, the cumulative effect of the interest is adding to the cost. So you can say that it's being paid down, but there's very, very little of the principal that gets paid down until you get closer towards the tail end of the amortization schedule. And that assumes that the debts are frozen in place. So what are we dealing with? In Harris County alone, the combined is 6.9 billion in principal. This is not a system. This is a crime scene. I can't be any clearer than that. This is a full-blown crime scene. Now, here's the good news. As a crime scene, 100% of this is actually traceable. Who created it, who participated in it, and who continues to benefit from it is actually traceable. So Travis's question was, why should people do this? Well, just this morning, River West neighborhood in Milwaukee County in Wisconsin, an article came out where the Central Appraisal District, again, is raising the real estate taxes in mass. That is a violation of every real estate tax law ever created and ever written. You can't do it. It's a violation of uniform standards of professional appraisal practice. It's a violation of the state's property tax code. It's a violation of the US Constitution. And it's a violation of their constitution, of their state's constitution. The fellow that sent that to me, his name is Mr. Roman. His property tax bill showed up about 10 minutes later with an $18,000 increase. There is no appraisal law on this planet to back up any of this. So that leads to the next issue. Well, what's really going on here? We've said the school districts, there's a pattern and practice, no bond schedules, no sources and uses, no notes to the balance sheet, hidden investment pools. We did a video on that. And no amortization schedules. Your school district superintendents are signing off on documents by virtue of fraud. They are committing accounting fraud. Well, the math is the math, the evidence is the evidence, and ignoring both is criminal and ends up in financial crimes against humanity. That's what we're dealing with here, as you can tell by these elderly people who are being forced to go back to work, and or thousands of people across the United States losing their homes. Well, let's talk about the fraud by omission for a second. The bonds can't be paid off. The bond raise is used to pay off existing compound cumulative interest, which by definition is a Ponzi scheme, and that ends in RICO, both at the state level and the federal level. Where are the disclosures to the public that in 7.5 years, the bond debt that exists today will be double its current value based on the cumulative interest rate? Where are the disclosures of the outstanding school district fraudulent bond debt per household? That's a fantastic ratio that everybody in the United States who's paying real estate tax should understand what it means. I wrote that and I put that in the criminal complaint to the DOJ, the First Amendment to the criminal complaint. So Jeff and I worked on that schedule. It's on page 3 and it's well worth looking at. In the case of Argyle, they have $343,000 in outstanding school district fraudulent bond debt on every house in Argyle, and the average house in Argyle is worth $450,000. Think of that for a second. So further to the point, they're supposed to have disclosures. Everybody that's raising a bond, doesn't matter, school district, whatever. Well, where are the disclosures to the public that the bond debt is in fact a property tax increase? Where are the disclosures that the existing bond debt principal and the dollar amount are specified? Quite often they say, well, we're just raising bonds, and they don't tell you what they're raising bonds for. They don't tell you what the interest is. They don't tell you what it's being paid for. That goes back to the school superintendent. Where are the sources and uses? Where is it stated and disclosed what the interest rate is to retire the existing bonds, as well as the bonds that are attempted to be raised today? What's the interest rate for the new bonds that they're claiming to be raised today? What is the maximum terms that those bonds are to be paid off? When are they due? And what happens if they don't get paid off? Where are the disclosures for any of this? The point of the matter is it doesn't exist. They're not doing it. They're violating the law. They're violating their own education agency law. That's what's happening in Texas. That's what's happening in Wisconsin. It's happening everywhere. They are completely ignoring the law. Bottom line is there is no disclosure to the public and or the bondholders, and that is fraud by omission. The combination of these 3 things that I've just gone through is exactly why every single person must file a criminal complaint. We're past the point of suing chief appraisers, because the truth is you get 5 people to sue them, you can't get more money than one hit. So you may as well just say enough is enough. Let's put them in jail. That's exactly where they belong. They're violating the law. They know they're violating the law. They cannot not know. And therefore, they should be charged criminally, both under a state level and federally under RICO. File the criminal complaints, because if you don't, this will come back against you. This will come back against your neighbors. They will not stop until certain people go to jail. That's what has to happen.
And once again, you guys, Mitch and I and Jeff, we're just a handful of people. We really need your help. And so we've laid out this work for you guys to follow. If you're in a different state, just look up your maximum bond ISD debt cap, and then just do what I just showed you. There's no reason not to help stop the fraud. I love you guys. Everything is in the description for free. Please help us. Email us, reach out to us, but definitely don't take this lying down. Now, other than that, guys, if you're out there investing in real estate, your lives, yourself, we wish you luck and we hope you win.